Today we are learning about addition. I'm going to teach you how to use the column method with decimal strategy. Now that we are working with decimals, it is important that we have a secure knowledge of the place value system. On the left-hand side of the decimal point we have our whole numbers, and on the right-hand side of the decimal point we have our decimal parts. Let's start by reading the first question. 246.7 add 13.5. First we need to add the tenths column. So I have 7 tenths, add 5 tenths, which is 12 tenths. In the number 12 tenths, I have 2 tenths, and I have 1 whole or 1, which I have to carry over to the ones column. We always need to make sure when we're working with decimals that our decimal point in our answer sits directly underneath the decimal points in the question. Now we can add our ones column. 6 ones, add 3 ones is 9 ones. Add our carried 1 gives us 10 ones. In the number 10 ones, we have no ones, and we have 1 10, which we carry over to the tens column. Now we can add our tens column. I have 4 tens, add 1 10, which is 5 tens. Add my carried 10, gives me 6 tens. And finally, we can add our hundreds. So 2 hundreds add no hundreds is 2 hundreds. Therefore, the answer to 246.7 add 13.5 is 260.2. Now let's try a slightly harder example. Here we have 402.2 add 29.85. When adding decimals with a different number of decimal places, it is important to make them the same by identifying that the 2 tenths here is the same as having 20 hundredths, and therefore 0.2 is the same as having 0.20. We need to make sure we have our 0 in that place. Now let's complete the addition. I have no hundredths, add 5 hundredths, which gives me 5 hundredths. I have 2 tenths, add 8 tenths, which gives me 10 tenths. In the number 10 tenths, I have no tenths, and I have 1 whole or 1, which I carry over to the ones column. Again, we need to make sure our decimal point is in line with the decimal points above. Now we can add our ones. 2 ones, add 9 ones is 11 ones, add 1 1 is 12 ones. In the number 12 ones, we have 2 ones and 1 10. Now we can add our tens column. I have no tens, add 2 tens, which is 2 tens, add my carried 10, which is 3 tens. And finally, we can add our hundreds. 4 hundreds, add no hundreds is 4 hundredths. So the answer to 402.2 add 29.85 is 432.05.